Eerieville-Wondrous Destiny-Ch.3.
Unlike Princess Molly, Crimson was not originally from that land, or world even. He ran a small landscaping company in El Paso, Texas. Weed Destroyer Yard Services. He was also a student at a community college. One evening, he was coming out of class, headed to his car, when he saw a full-sized mirror in the middle of the school garden. It was just standing in plain sight. He frowned his eyebrows in curiosity when he saw it and slightly twisted his head sideways, like a confused dog would. Full-size mirrors in the middle of a school garden aren't very common if you think about it. I must be hallucinating, he thought as he rubbed his eyes to see more clearly. After all, it's been a tiring day for him. It's probably a prop from the theater club, he thought. He was beat up from being out working in the sun all morning and then attending a full day of school. He was also hungry. Money was not something he had an abundance of, so he tried not to eat out as much, and he had forgotten to pack lunch that day. As a result, his mind was a bit foggy that day. However, he approached the mirror to see it up close. When he was in front of it, he could see the reflection of his face. The mirror seemed to be an ordinary mirror. It reflected normally like a mirror should, revealing even the not-so-beautiful aspects of our bodies. But suddenly, as Crimson was analyzing it, the mirror sprouted bright neon colors. Red, green, blue, yellow, and purple. Then suddenly, without warning, the mirror sucked him right in. Just like that. Like a powerful, neon color vacuum. Yeah, pretty bizarre indeed. It happened in just a few seconds. Before his tired brain could process what just happened, he ended up in the magical world. He was, naturally, a little confused and disoriented at first. But after some time, he began to notice the beautiful and interesting aspects of that world. Heavy bushery, untrimmed trees, neon, colorful, shining mushrooms sprouting from the ground. The dense humidity filled his lungs. The air smelled like wet tree bark and strawberry pineapple cake. He was so enchanted with that new place and explored it tirelessly. After some time, he even forgot where he was originally from. He forgot about his school and his landscaping job. He even forgot to study for his upcoming art history test. Yikes. The only thing he remembered was that he wasn't from that magical land. That didn't seem to bother him much, really. Maybe it was something in the air. He seemed pretty joyful exploring this new world. He had been in that world inside the magical mirror for months so far. The only reason he knew his name was because he was carrying his ID in his wallet. Jotzi Crimson, it read next to his face. But now, after the kidnapping of Princess Molly and the fight with the evil scouts, Crimson lies bleeding on the ground and struggles to stand up. He leans on a tree trunk, but when he tries to stand up, a piercing pain in his ribs weakens his legs, and he falls back to the ground. Unable to fully stand up, he crawls on the floor. As he does this, two individuals approach him, Raven and Capra. Raven is fully dressed in black. Even his face is fully masked with a black hood. Capra is white from head to legs. He is fully covered with a white robe and a goat mask. They stand in front of him and begin to pick him up. Crimson grabs them by the hand, not knowing who they are. He hadn't even seen their faces. Once he was finally up, Crimson supported his arms on their shoulders, almost using them like crutches, and managed to walk with one foot. Seir Ianua, exclaimed the white goat-faced Capra, extending his right hand in front of him, facing east. Suddenly, a magical portal opens up in front of them. It had bright neon colors and electric rays, just like the magic mirror did. Crimson felt a strong déjà vu as he saw this, but still couldn't remember his past experience with the magical mirror. They all went inside the portal. They ended up in another place, just outside a small mud brick cottage house in the middle of nowhere. Gray clouds covering the sky. A wooden gate with white faded paint surrounding the place. Crows and vultures flying in the air. Goats and pigs were walking upright inside the wooden fence. The smell of rain and manure filled the air. Masked people plowing the land. A slight hint of fog above the dark brown, humid soil. They go inside the house and take Crimson to a bed in a room there. Rest. Get better, boy, said Capra looking at Crimson, who is lying in the bed. Where am I? Precisely where you need to be right now. You need to heal. Crimson had many more questions, but his exhaustion and pain was stronger than his curiosity at that moment. He put his head on the pillow and quickly fell asleep, smelling the fresh, manure-filled air. The following day, he woke up very late. He managed to sit down, but his knees were still injured, and he failed to walk on both legs. He grabbed himself from nearby objects for support, and that way made his way inside the house. The masked maidens were inside the kitchen. Masked women with long white dresses attending him like nurses. One of them had a purple mask, the other one a mint-colored one. "Good evening," the two of them said, almost simultaneously. "Evening." "Yeah, we're about to serve supper. Feel free to sit down. We'll serve you in a bit." After an awkward pause, Crimson asked, "Where is the bathroom?" "Just outside. You see that little cabin? It's in there," the one with the purple mask replied, pointing at a small cabin through the window. "May I use it?" "Of course. Feel free. You must have many questions. Lord Capra and Lord Raven will be here in a few weeks, and they will answer all your questions." Their voices were surprisingly sweet and crisp. "Weeks," exclaimed Crimson. "Yeah, that should be enough time for you to heal and start your training," she replied. "Training? What kind of training?" "I can't stay here to train. I have to go look for Princess Molly. She is in trouble," Crimson said in a high-pitched cry. "Self-defense. And no worries, you will have time to rescue her, but you gotta get ready. You won't get far if you leave now. You can't even walk. Not to mention what they will do to you if you get into another fight," said the one with the mint-colored mask. Crimson was speechless, his mouth wide open. What a reality check. He didn't know how to fight. He had never needed to. He didn't even believe in fighting, but if he said that to the maidens, he would appear cowardly, so he remained silent. "I'll go use the restroom now," Crimson excused himself, bowing his head. "Of course. Make yourself at home," the one with the mint-colored mask responded. Crimson started to walk with crutches towards the exit door and then glanced back at them. "Oh, and thank you very much. I am indebted to you and very grateful." The masked maidens nodded and giggled. Dinner should be ready soon. Crimson was still intrigued at the sweet yet alien aspect of the masked maidens. He wondered who they were and why such beautiful young maidens were wearing those purple and greenish masks. Once inside the restroom, he stood in front of the mirror inside the bathroom. "How miserable I look," he thought. His swollen face still had some blood, bruises, and dirt. Once completely alone, he cried silently, grinding his teeth. "I will not cry," he whispered. "Not until I save the princess and get my revenge," he promised himself while clenching his fists. After he ate in company of the masked maidens, he went to bed and fell asleep visualizing how he would execute his revenge. And although he had a lump in his throat, he kept to his promise of not crying. "Tomorrow I will begin my training, even if Lord Capra and Lord Raven are not here," he thought. "Princess Molly is my destiny, and I must save her.